day 14 come to a close. We didn't do a recap between day 10 and day 14. And the reason for that is while we're doing a lot, it's not like we're making huge strides in our character. Like we would, get from level something something to something else. We're really just trying to build up our army, build up our followers, and we're kind of just doing garrison maintenance along with running LFR. So not a lot of really exciting content. We're basically just doing what we have to do to kind of hurry through things. Now, the legendary quest line we focused a lot on. On day 10, we pushed into it. We got to the point where we were starting Abrogator Stones. Now, we were never going to be able to complete our Abrogator Stones in 1 week. The catch-up in Tanan gives you 25 per week at the cost of 14,000, just shy of 15,000 Apexus crystals. So we can only do that once per week, and 25 is a pretty big chunk. We knew that if we had any real chance at completing it, we would have had to hit Abrogator Stones much earlier in the week and take advantage of the naval missions that provide a good number of them. So in order to make up that 25, we probably would have needed at least 2 or 3 more days worth of naval missions to make it happen. So we could have done it in one reset. There is a possibility if you hit 100 on Tuesday and you really got good naval missions, you got lucky with the instant complete work orders from the Mage Tower, there is a chance that by Sunday you could be on Elemental Runes and get your first set from LFR of Elemental Runes, putting you ahead 1 weekly reset. So depending on when you hit 100 in the weekly reset really speaks to how quickly you can get through the quest line. But basically, yesterday, Tuesday, on our weekly reset, we managed to turn in our final, or our second Abrogator Stone catch-up mechanic in Tanan. So we turned in another 14,000, just shy of 15,000, and we got 25. Now that put us just like 2 shy. I think we were at 123 out of 125 Abrogator Stones. So unfortunately, it turned into Wednesday this morning before we could actually turn in our last naval mission and go and turn the quest in. But it really doesn't make that much difference in terms of the weekly reset, whether or not we completed it this morning or yesterday. I mean, 1 extra day of Elemental Runes isn't going to mean that I can finish my tablets this week. I'm still going to need 2 weeks of Elemental Runes, more than likely. But we're off to a decent start. We have 162 of them. We've completed our LFR for the week in all of Highmall. We've done all of our Blackrock Foundry, and we've done some of Hellfire Citadel. But Abrogator Stone's done. We did the little story quest after that. We got our new ring. This one has a proc on it, the Archmage's Incandescence, and that gives you a primary stat boost. It's like 15% or 20%. Really starting to see that the ring is turning into something that's useful and not just, a decent ring of a decent eye level. The first one is a 640, and so depending on what you have crafted and what gear you have, maybe you got lucky with a couple of baleful rings, you might not even wear it until it gets to about this point, and then that proc is really worth something. So we're through the Abrogator Stones, we're on to Elemental Runes, we've done our LFR for the week. Now the biggest thing that we need to focus on for this reset and next reset is getting as many of our naval missions done as possible. So we've got our Mage Tower to level 3 now. We basically just went out and farmed Ogre Waystones. It took us about 45 minutes to farm up the 500 achievement, and that gives us plenty to run our Mage Tower for a while. I think we're down to 234. It's something awful, but that's not going to last us forever. So we will have to go out and farm some more over the next maybe 5, 6, 7 days. Maybe we push it till next week, but I'm sure we're going to have time this week to grind up a little bit. But we want to make sure we have enough of those to last through this and however much we need to do. Now the Naval Yard, unlike the game that had we're investing 8 to 10 hours a day almost in this game. So if you're not playing that much, if you're playing 3, 4 hours a night, even if you're playing 2 hours a night, what you want to do to make sure that you can continue pacing the legendary quest line is check this. In the morning before you go to work, when you come home from work, check it again. It takes 5 minutes, just stay logged here, and this will drastically increase the number of elemental runes you get. It's kind of like playing a little mini game on your phone. Just log in, check it, send your missions out, accept the missions that have completed, and rinse repeat that as many times as you can per day without, you know, obsessing too much about it. We will get missions that have much more than just 23. They'll go up to like 30. I think 35 might be the highest one. Can't really remember. But these missions are huge. I probably should have started that a while ago rather than just staring at it. But it's sent, and most of our elemental stone missions are going to be in this corner. So we want to focus on doing things in this corner where we can. We've got, you know, a green completion over here, and it's 4,000 Apexis crystals. So yeah, we're going to do that. Apexis is something that we really need. It's an 18-hour mission. It kind of sucks to tie your boats up like that. You might need them for something over here, but it's kind of hard to pass that up. It's just shy of being one baleful item, and we are still, even on day 14, sitting in gear that, you know, could be replaced by an empowered baleful or a baleful that's warforged, and we've only managed to get one empowered baleful token, so we only have one empowered baleful item, and we valor capped it. A lot of our baleful isn't even ready to be empowered. The stats aren't where we want them to be, so we've still got crit mastery, we've got verse multi. Crit multi is what we're looking for, higher on the crit side. Obviously something like this we would take, crit multi, higher on the multi side. I would empower this and valor cap it. Now, the one thing that we were really struggling with was finding a trinket. We still had a 598 trinket as of yesterday. And toward the end of the day, I decided to go just buy one of the crafted ones. We had already taken off our crafted boots because we didn't have the money to upgrade them. And we've already taken off our crafted ring because we got better and we didn't have the money to upgrade it. So we were really only sitting on one crafted item. I might as well just fill that slot with something that's a little bit better. Oh, this is a lot better than that trinket, but it's still only a 640. We have managed to get to 677 eye level since day 10, which is, you know, respectable considering we don't have a main that can just feed us empowered baleful crystals. Otherwise, I would probably have half of my gear empowered already. We have been just spending our money into the Shred Iron Shredder. We farmed up some of our own Fellblight, and we bought the rest of the mats to get the 5 of 6 upgrade, which was an advanced muzzle sprocket. And then we basically paid someone to craft it for us using their gear springs. So we gave them a little bit of money to use a mat that's soulbound for them, but we supplied the rest of the materials. And then today, day 14, we managed to have enough gold to buy the rest of the things that we needed. We bought more Fellblight. We actually dropped skinning for enchanting because skinning wasn't producing as much Fellblight as I would have liked, and we were having to constantly buy hides because we weren't skinning enough. There's not a lot of skinning in what we do that we're just going to happen across it. We will actually have to go out and actively skin to keep up with the things that we need the skins for. So I'd rather invest that time into making gold in other means and just buying the products that we need rather than having a profession that doesn't really do anything for me. So we dropped that for enchanting. We'll talk about that in a minute. So this is 6 of 6, and it's upgraded to level 2 of 2 for Valor. So we're pretty much done here, and now we're going to start investing our resources and our money into getting 2 other crafted items to 6 of 6. This trinket is pretty good. We might actually take this to 6 of 6 and Valor upgrade it, considering we have a decent ring that we could empower, and an empowered is 705. A fully crafted 6 of 6 upgraded item is 715. So we could take our ring that we have crafted to 715, or we could just empower this and we're really only missing 10 eye levels. So it might be a trade-off that we take considering our trinket choices are really limited. We either need the trinket off of Kazakh, or we need to start getting into normal raids and doing council to try and get the Blade Master trinket. So trinkets are a little difficult for us in terms of what's good and what bosses are going to be puggable, and we still need to get our eye level up a lot. I would say at least to 690 or 700 before we're going to see ourselves getting invited into normal raids. So we still have a little bit of work to do, and items that are 640 are really dragging us down. So we need to get empowered Baleful, we need to start upgrading them with Valor, and we need to start flushing out our crafted pieces so that we at least have 3 of them. Now, we have been spending our days knocking out Tanan, which takes a little bit longer than we would like. Obviously, we don't have any flying. So, you know, we come out, we pick our spot, and really, because of how close we were to Tuesday, we had to spend a lot of our time in LFR queues, we had to do dungeons, we had a lot we were working on. So doing Tanan in groups wasn't really possible. We were already queued up for something else, so we couldn't use the looking for more to look for more. So it took longer because we had to solo it all. Once we get a little bit further into this, most of the days we're going to go up to Throne, get in a party, finish it in 5 minutes, jump down to Felforge, find a party, finish it in 5 minutes, and it's basically going to be bam, 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 we're done in 30, 45 minutes, and it's over. So the actual time investment for this place, even at a low gear level, isn't that much. Let's say you take an hour, even without flying, an hour to get around and do things. You basically just have to do it in order so that you're at a flight point when you're finishing and it's a convenient flight and you're not like trapping yourself anywhere, right? So we take the plane from Lion's Watch up to Throne of Kill Jaden. We do that, we jump down to the Felforge, we do Felforge, we do Ironhold Harbor, we run back to the flight path, and then we fly up to Ruins. So it's basically like here, boop, 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 fly up here, finish this, jump down to Zeth Gol, Iron Front, Temple of Shinar. I've done a couple of different variations, and I don't think they're really much different. I had Ruins of Krenak as my table quest, so I flew from here to Ruins. I did Ruins, I jumped down to Ironhold, I did Felforge, I hit the flight path. I flew over to Ironfront, did Ironfront, did Zeth Gol, did Temple, ported to my garrison, ported over to Ashran, ported back to Lion's Watch, and then flew up to Throne of Kill Jaden. So you just gotta finagle your way around the map and make it as quickly as possible so that you don't spend all of your playtime in Tanan. So Tanan we've been doing daily. We've been trying to make as many Apexes as possible. Today we did Sokrathar's Rise. It was the first one. No, we did the Pit yesterday. So we did the Pit yesterday and we did Sokrathar's Rise today. So those are the only 2 days since day 10 that we've actually done the garrison table Apexis mission. So before Tanan existed, before that was in the game, you gained Apexis by doing daily objectives from a table in your garrison. So it would be random, and then once we got past that, once Tanan was out, they actually put a vendor in the game that would sell you a missive to go attack those areas. So it's no longer random. But it's going to be this table here. Every day it's going to have an option between 2 places. And you just pick one and you go assault it and you get Apexes for it. This guy over here, Sergeant Crawler, he sells missives so that you can do these at any time. We've still been pretty strapped for garrison resources. We've bought, I think, 3 ogre caches. So we've even turned our gold into 3,000 garrison resources, and we still only have 391. For a new player, know that the ogre caches are on the auction house. Try to buy them at a good price. When you're leveling up, check the auction house, check the item price, see how it fluctuates, find the low market value, and try to buy them when they're low. Obviously, if you get stuck in a position where you need garrison resources, money is much easier to come by than garrison resources are. Alts, you know, all of my alts, I just bought a bunch of them and threw them over there. So they had garrison resources at their disposal whenever they wanted. But if you're on a new account and you're strapped for money and you're trying to, you're trying to level up items, you're trying to, buy patterns for your buildings, your money has a lot of places to go, and you don't always just have a bunch of income that you can dump into garrison resources. So building-wise, we've been a little throttled because of garrison resources. We've also been pretty throttled because of the achievements that are required. On my main account, every alt that I make, the achievement already exists. The achievement is count-wide once it's completed, so I don't have to worry about being gated behind these achievements. For the Mage Tower to get to level 3, we had to farm up 500 Ogre Waystones, which only took us I'd say total took us an hour. So it's not that bad. But you can actively farm this, meaning you can just kill ogres until you get all of the stones that you need. We look at the barn, for example, and we can't buy the level 3 barn until we've done 150 work orders. Or is it 100? I think it might be 100. But the achievement basically is place 100 work orders. Okay, well, work orders complete once every 3 hours. Is it 3 hours? It's 3 hours, right? 3 hours or 4 hours. So you can't speed that up. The only way to speed that up is to go back out to Sergeant Crowler and buy barn instant complete orders. And they're 1,000 garrison resources, and they instantly complete 5 of your orders. But to do 100, right, you're talking about way too many garrison resources to make that manageable. So we can't even build a level 3 barn, which is what we want. The things that we're trapping now are of no use. We're just getting a little bit of Apixis crystal and fur. They're really not doing anything for us. I could go trap river beasts and get feast, but again, feast, I don't want them. I could just make food. So the barn right now really is serving absolutely no purpose other than just giving us something that we have to farm, which is kind of infuriating. I would love to have a way that I could actively farm to get my level 3, but I can't. I basically just have to play the waiting game. Now this gets sped up if you have multiple characters with barns. So if we had 5 characters with barns and we put in, 10 work orders in each barn, that'd be 50. So when all of those rotate out and we put in another 50, then we get our achievement. But because we don't have 5 characters, we can't speed this up. 1 character is hugely punished by these achievements that are account-wide and they're meant to be done by a bunch of alts. Same thing with the mine and the herb garden, right? The mine, we can't get to level 3 until we get 500 Draenic stones. Now my mine produces X number of ore nodes per day, and those ore nodes provide X number of Draenic stones per day. So I can't get a level 3 until I put in X number of days into the mine. Right now, I think we are somewhere around 200, maybe. I think it's actually in professions. So we're at 187 out of 500. And we've been doing our mine every day since level 100. And even multiple times since we were level 100. So you can see this achievement is just a huge undertaking for a single player, for a single character. If I had 3 alts, I'd be getting, 25 Draenic stones per day per character, and they would all get added into this total. So things like this are kind of lame if you're just playing 1 character, and it really, Warlords of Draenor really stressed have a lot of characters. You want to make a lot of gold, have a lot of characters. You want to have, a lot of stuff, make a lot of characters. It was alt fiesta, absolutely. So Mage Tower, we got to level 3 because we could actively farm it. Barn, it's the waiting game. Mine, waiting game. Herb Garden, waiting game. These buildings are... Our profession buildings we're not going to take to level 3. Really, it just allows us to have more work orders active, which means that we can ignore it for longer. So we're really not going to invest any of our resources or money into this for the time being. Now, the salvage yard is, again, another waiting game. We have to process X number of salvage crates and salvage goods. So basically, we have to do missions. Now, we've been holding off on missions because we don't want to spend all of our garrison resources. And they cost garrison resources to send. So if I'm sending out 10 missions at 10 per, there go 100 garrison resources. So we're not sending a lot of missions, so we're not getting a lot of salvage, meaning that we're not going to get ourselves any closer to that achievement. Again, we're gated. Just a waiting game. The barracks it has an achievement as well. You have to do X number of patrol missions, and again, that goes right back to we're not sending out a whole bunch of missions, so this one's going to take us a while. The inn, we are purposefully not going to level 3. Don't need it. This will eventually become a trading post so that we can get the increased rep gains. That'll help us with our Tanan reps that are getting us from getting flying. We have the inn right now to try and gain a couple of items that are good. We've got this item. It's basically a reusable flask. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to buy it or anything. It's just got a 15-minute cooldown. You activate it, and you get 100 to your main stat. The flasks are better, but this is decent for just you're in the world, you don't want to waste a flask. So that was something good that we got. There are a couple of other items from the inn missions that are good, or that you might want. Some have pets, some have toys, but the one we're going after is the Aviana Feather. It pops you up into the air and allows you to glide. So in places like Tanan, it's hugely useful, especially when you don't have flying. Our table missions, we're starting to send out a little bit more, and obviously whenever we see garrison resources, we're going for it. Garrison resource missions don't require garrison resources to run. So even if they're, you know, like, we could get 30 at 100%, or we could get 60 at 78%. 78% is a pretty good chance. Even if we fail it, we didn't lose garrison resources. But primarily, we're trying to level up certain people. You can see these little green arrows. This is part of an add-on that we have. If we can get Tormach to level 100, we'll get 100% on this. But he's level 98. So I'm trying to focus on getting him leveled up, because right now we can't 100% this. In 45 minutes we could 82% it, or currently we could 46% it. And then we kind of just come down through here, and we try to see where there's a lot of experience to be gained. 4,000 experience to be gained. Scrapsy Fibblepop? Scrapsy Fibblepop will gain a level if we complete this mission. Now it's a 28% complete, so probably not going to happen. And a mission like this requires 30 garrison resources. So sending this at a 30% completion rate, hoping this guy gets a level, is not a great use of our garrison resources. So again, we're not sending out a huge amount of missions. We're really just trying to pool our garrison resources for the time being. Naval missions are our bread and butter. We're getting a lot of Apexis. Our boats are leveling quickly. We have the ability to get Baleful if we want. Our legendary questline items are from here. So we're putting a lot of our efforts into this, and that often costs garrison resources in equipment. If we look at our fleet and we look at a boat, we see that this has a blast furnace and an automated sky scanner, and each of these items provide a certain bonus. Missions, much like your follower missions, have counters. So, you know, when you send them out, you can swap that equipment out. So like right now I have had a blast furnace in my bag, but I could trade out this item for a blast furnace. So if I had a mission where I needed 2 blast furnaces, and these 2 boats could 100% it if I just put a blast furnace here, then we could buy a blast furnace for 500 garrison resources and chug it in there. And if the next mission required something different, we could spend another 500 garrison resources to put a different equipment on it. So a lot of garrison resources spent on the naval yard if you are looking to take what you have and get as much reward as you can possibly get as quickly as possible. So a lot of finagling really in getting these things done quickly. It's not like there's any one perfect answer. It's not like you're going to come into your garrison, you're going to put each one of your buildings down, and they're just going to stay forever. A lot of rushing this content and catching up as quickly as possible requires certain buildings for a certain amount of time, and then you move on from there into something else. So we have been doing Tanan actively. We've been doing LFR actively. We've gotten a lot of call to arms in LFR, so we've earned a lot of gold from doing those. We've earned a lot of Baleful from doing those. Unfortunately, a lot of the Baleful that I've been getting hasn't been what I want, but we've still been at least rolling a bunch of it. We have spent a little bit of time trapping, obviously just to keep our barn going, but not a huge amount. I'd say maybe 30 minutes, that's about it, of trapping for the barn in total since level 100. We haven't done anything with our bodyguards yet. We gained 1 Exalted rep. Council of the Exarchs gets you pretty close to Exalted just by doing quests and getting through Shadow Moon. So this was damn near Exalted for the last 3 days. And today when Socrathar's Rise came up, I was like, yeah, let's just go out there, go to Socrathar's Rise. We get Council of Exarchs rep for everything that we kill out there, plus we'll be doing an Apexis event. So we pushed ourselves into Exalted. We got the Exalted rep that we needed to make the trading post. That was the only thing holding us back from the trading post. So once we're done with the inn, we'll be able to go straight to level 3 trading post and immediately start gaining the benefits of that 20% increased reputation. So not a lot. We haven't started doing normal raids. We haven't started... What else have we not done? It's really just normal raids at this point. We haven't gotten into any mythics yet. I think our item level is still too low. Technically, we could do mythics, but most people that start groups aren't going to take you. They're going to see a 670 eye level, and they're going to be like, nope. Nope, nope, nope. So, we need to get some more eye levels before people will consider us taking us on mythics. Mythics are a great way to get Valor. You get 300 per. Mythics are, again, on the weekly reset, so you can do each mythic dungeon 1 time per week, so you can get that 300 Valor 1 time per dungeon. It makes up a huge amount of the Valor, and we could, technically start Valor upgrading a lot more items if we could do those. I imagine about the time we start doing normal Hellfire Citadel, we'll be getting into mythics. It might be by the end of this week, but might be wishful thinking as well. So the next couple of updates are going to be kind of maybe 2 days apart, maybe 3 days apart. We'll just feel it out and see how much we get from each day. I'll definitely do a recap. If we don't do a recap by this weekend, we'll definitely do one after next Tuesday when we've finished our next weekly reset. By then I'm hoping that we're done with elemental runes, and we will have gotten on to the Hellfire Citadel portion of our legendary questline. That would be ideal. And if we hit that, then definitely make a recap video, talk about that, and talk about how far we've come since this recap. I hope you guys are continuing to enjoy the series. I hope you're coming and checking out the broadcast every day. Still having a lot of fun doing this. Not as gated, not as struggling as I thought I would be in Warlords. We were taken by surprise by the leveling process, but Warlords is kind of the same. We're struggling for gold a little bit more than I thought we would, but we still have a lot of questing to do, so we still have a lot of gold potential. We haven't done our weekly Kata raid, so we have at least 7 grand there to play with this week. I think we're making pretty good progress, and I will continue to share it with you guys. So that'll be it, and I'll see you guys out there.